nyo nilagyan ng 12% VAT? Tanggalin natin yon.
Piniga ng gusto ni Senador Rodante Marcoleta ang Department of Energy at Energy Regulatory Commission na alisin na ang 12% VAT sa kuryente nang sa ganon ay tuluyan ng bababa ang consumption rate at bayarin sa kuryente ng mamamayang Pilipino. Dagdag pa ng senador ay wala umano ito sa IPIRA Law or Electric Power Industry Reform Act of 2001. Ang pagpapataw ng ganong kalaking buwis sa kuryente at gawa-gawa lamang ito ng mga buhayang opisyal ng naturang ahensya. Malaking benepisyo din ito lalo na sa mga manufacturing sectors dahil halos 60% di umano ng kanilang mga gastos ay sa kuryente na pupunta.
Yung proposal ko po, meron akong bill para po maging ganap na maramdaman ng bawat household, lalo na po yung mahirap. Ito po kasing lifeline rate was intended for our poor people. Yung talagang walang-wala ito eh. Ngayon, ito pong ladderized na ito na hindi pare-pareho talaga. Naintindihan ko naman sapagkat hindi naman pare-pareho po yung pinanggagalingan ng mga electric cooperatives, halimbawa, o lahat ng distribution utilities. Pero pare-pareho naman ang kalagayan ng household, talagang hirap na hirap. Ito po, alam na ni Mr. Chair ito, meron po kaming panukalang batas na lahat po ng households na kumukonsumo ng 200 kilowatt hours pababa, dapat na po nating ilibre lahat yun. Hindi po kayo makasagot.
We will support that po kung yan naman ay tutustusan ng gobyerno dahil po itong Lifeline program ang tumutustos po kasi dito ay yung mga ibang consumers din. This is a form of cross-subsidy. Pero yung pong inyong prinsipyo na pinapanukala, ito po ay ang gagawin naming bagong disenyo ng Lifeline program na kung saan ang makakabenepisyo doon sa diskwento ay across the board pero hindi lang maibibigay yon at 200 bagkus maaring ito ay 50 kilowatt hours, 50 kilowatt hours at 30 kilowatt hours. Ganun lang po kasi pinag-aaralan natin naman din ang magiging impact niya doon sa lifeline subsidy charge.
Hindi naman po kayo magpapasyan yan eh. Kung halimbawa na naipasya ng Kongreso na ito ang maging panuntunan natin, 200 kilowatt hours parang subsidy na po sa lahat na. Iyon po kasi ay talagang makakatulong sa marginalized sector ng ating bansa. Siyempre po, isa-subsidize ng gobyerno yun eh. Tingnan po ninyo, ang philosophy po behind that is napakarami ng binibigay nating mga subsidies ngayon. Lalo na nakaraang eleksyon, meron kayong AKAP, meron kayong AX, meron kayong TUPAD, meron kayong MAIP, bukod pa dun sa 4Ps. Alam po ba nyo kung magkano yon ang total for this year? 194 billion pesos. Pero wala namang record kung kanino napunta yon at kung paano nagkaroon ng transformation sa lahat ng mga mahihirap nating kababayan. Pero pag nilibre natin, let's say 200 kilowatt hour consumption, siguro 100 billion lang po yun. So nakatipid ka ng 94 billion. Yun po yung philosophy behind this. So, yun pong affordability issue. Naayos natin. Bababa po yung kanilang elektrisidad. Lalo na po yung mahihirap. Ngayon, kung naipasa pa po natin ang isang panukalang batas na alisin natin ang 12% VAT, immediately, bababa ang kuryente. Gusto ko po kasing kausapin ang DOE. Natulungan din kami. Kasi sasabihin ng DOE, hindi natin pwedeng, bakit hindi natin pwedeng gawin? Hindi ba nila alam kwentahin? Kasi maaaring ang DOE kaya niyang kwentahin ito. Ano ang impact sa mga industries natin? For example, particularly the manufacturing sector. Anong impact kapag ka naibaba mo ang production cost nila? Lalaki ang kanilang output. Para ko nang nakita yon. Kasi tinitingnan lang natin yung mawawala sa atin sa collection ng taxes. Bakit hindi nila tingnan kung gaano ang ilalaki ng ating economy? Siguro kapag binaba natin, inalis natin ang VAT, yung kapalit naman nun is probably triple the economy. So, mas malaking buwis ang makukwenta. So, imbes na pag-usapan natin yung kawalan ng kusan, sabay ka kukuha ng, kukolektahin ko dyan kapag sasabihin ko naman sa kanila, problema mo yun, ikaw ang taga-kolekta eh. Bakit mo akong problema niyan? Ang problema ko lang, i-depends ako kung ano yung sinasabi ng batas. Affordable, transparent, reasonable, competitive. Eh, sinasabi ng IPIRA eh. Ba't mo kasi nilagyan ng VAT? Kaya nga naging exorbitant. Ang pinagbulan natin ay affordable. Ba't nyo nilagyan ng 12% VAT? Sino bang may idea nun, Mr. Chair? Wala naman dapat. Basahin po ninyo yung IPIRA in its original form. Wala talaga eh. Bigla na lang nagkaroon ng 6% VAT pagkatapos binigyan na naman ng another 6%. Kaya, tanggalin natin yon. And then we will present a study na kapag ginawa natin yon, ang ating manufacturing sector talagang lalaki. Ito po yung problema. Bagsak po ang manufacturing natin. It is not contributing significantly to our economy. Ang ating pong GDP is consumption-driven. Dapat production-driven. Imagine po nyo yung ating cement industry, Mr. Marasigan, Yusek Marasigan. 70% ng production cost is electricity, power. Kaya po hindi sila gumiginhawa. Ang nakikinabang po ang Vietnam. Ayun pong mga cold storage natin, kaya hindi tayo makaimbak ng pagkain natin. 60% is electricity. Subukan ninyong ibaba ang production cost by way of reducing the rates of electricity. Para ko nang nakita kung gaano ang threefold, maybe fivefold giginhawa ang ating economy. And then, from there, we can collect more taxes. Yun ang gusto naming i-present na alternative. O di, bumaba ang kuryente, tumaas ang economy. Dapat yun ang aralin natin. My friend, President Coco Nograles, paano yung ano ba yung gusto kong yung ating universal charge for missionary electricity. This is your jurisdiction. Paano natin binabayaran yung sa pagitan? This is the subsidy. No? Meron tayong ginagamit na generation companies. We call them new power providers, NPPs. We're talking of the off-grid communities, sir. Kaya lang, most of these, hindi nila nagagampanan yung kanilang contracted energy capacity. Karaniwan. So, paano nyo minamanage? Paano nababayaran to if they have not delivered their contracted energy with the distribution utility?
Mr. Chair, thank you for your question. No? Magandang tanong yan. Unang-una, yung mga ina-apply po na mga UCMEs at binabayaran itong mga new power providers or qualified third parties, depends po dun sa approval din yan sa ERC. So yung nababayaran lang po natin doon ay yung mga karapat-dapat na mabayaran. So kung may shortfall sila, hindi sila mababayaran dun sa kanilang shortfall. Yun ang ginagawa po natin.
We'll go to that. Pero in principle, how do you manage the subsidy payments to the NPPs?
Pass-through po yun. So yung nakokolekta lang namin dun sa mga ECs, yung mga SAGAR. Tapos yung merong pinapass-through na mga UCMEs sa kanila, from the UCMEs, binibigay lang namin pag na-approve na ng ERC.
Hindi, yung NPC is overseeing the SPAG areas. Let's say Mindoro, Palawan, Masbate, Catanduanes,
Yes.
etc.
Yes.
So meron kayong missionary electrification development plan. 'Di ba? In order to project the power requirements in each of these SPAG areas. Ngayon, paano ninyo ma-allocate yung payment of subsidies per each of these SPAG areas? Ito yung gusto nating malaman. Because you continue to collect itong subsidy na to na kung tawagin natin ay universal charge. Ito nga yung nagpapahirap din sa ating mga consumers. Kasama ito sa binabayaran nila.
Yeah, so meron silang mga claims, Mr. Chair. And yung mga claims ng mga ito, syempre bine-verify po natin yung performance nila. And kung hindi nila naaabot, hindi po namin sinusupport yung claims na yan. And naka-budget din naman yung mga subsidies na ito. And
Yes, but we have to start with the WUKME allocation. Kasi kayo nag-a-approve ng plan.
Yes.
Alam ninyo kung magkano ang allocation in each of these PAG area.
Meron po tayo. Mga
So,
allocations.
kung minsan yung tagal nung pag-a-approve ninyo, hindi nagiging yung tagal ng regulatory approval, that will take years kung minsan eh. Pero yung subsidy nasa inyo na, it becomes a problem do sa transparency and accountability level kung paano ninyo. Hindi kasi pare-pareho eh. I'll give you an example. Yung what do you call this? On October 2, a demand letter of Power One Corporation for payment request of about 140 million was coursed through your office. And I believe there was already a directive from the ERC to pay this 140 million
Yes,
pesos.
Mr. Chair. 144 million. Dumaan
Oh
po
yes,
sa office
something
ko.
to that effect.
Yes, Mr. Chair. It's being
How come
processed.
it's not being paid?
It's being processed, Mr. Chair.
Oh,
Kasi kaka-decide lang ng ERC dyan, so there was a claim, Mr. Chair, and then the ERC, dumaan po yan sa table ko just this week, and then siguro mga 10 minutes lang sa table ko. Mas mabilis po kesa sa yung pag-reply ko ng mga messages.
10 minutes.
Yes, sir.
It's 2 hours you'll be able to pay that.
It has to go through a process, Mr. Chair.
Oh, how long is the process?
I think that's, so nag-okay na yung ERC, and then we're gonna go to SAM, no? Yeah. Yeah,
Yung letter
magvo-vouchering-
po ng ERC,
magvo-vouchering
Mr.
pa
Chair,
yan.
is September 18, 2025. Sabi niya, bayaran mo na siya. Tama, sir?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Oh. So why is it?
May mga
So ilang
internal,
araw ang processing?
may internal processes po kami. So pagdating sa amin, that's a few,
Yeah, but I think the chairman would like to know how many days will it take?
I think from now, probably we're going to pass it on to SAM, and then SAM will already release it. Siguro less than 30 days, Mr. Chair.
Tag-
Less than
Mr. Chair.
30 days.
30 days daw?
Less than.
10 days.
Best efforts, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, Pisam, if you allow me, Mr. Because it goes through back and forth sa agencies. If Pisam can commit a certain number of days when this will be released once NPC submits.
Mr. Chair, just for the information, it's actually allowed na 45 days yung processing time. So, best efforts pa. We're still within the 45 days, Mr. Chair. Pero best efforts pa, mas mabilis.
Kasi po, Mr. Chair, alam po natin na these power producers are using their own capital and their own money sa matagal na panahon. For example, I think I'm talking about Ormeco here in Mindoro. Ameco or Meco, I don't know. Nakukumpisa ako sa dalawang power producers. Pera nila yung ginagamit nila eh. So, yung tagal po ng pagbabayad to reimburse them sometimes affect the efficiency and effectiveness of their system. Kaya napipilitan po silang ibaba nila yung requirement to produce the needed electricity. And ang nangyayari, ang naapektuhan yung mga mamamayan. And this defeats the very purpose of missionary electricity. Kaya yung processing po ninyo, hindi ko alam kung why would it entail 45 days or 30 days if there is already a directive from the ERC and if the money is there. I don't think you can delay it for 5 days or 3 days. Kasi kailangan po nila yung pera eh. Ang apektado dito, siyempre kung hirap na rin po, yung PC niya halimbawa, hindi naman ganun kahaba. Ito yung pinag-uusapan natin. We're talking of missionary electrification program here. And they are SPAG areas and they are your own responsibility. So, how do we justify 45 days, 30 days? Yun.
Well noted, Mr. Chair. Yes,
ERC, what is the reasonable period in this instance?
It depends on their internal process, but of course, around the 15 days would seem already to be reasonable.
I heard 5 days. I'm sorry, I'm hard bargainer. Oh, 10 days.
Since dumaan na po sa table ko at in-okay ko na po. Yes, sir.
Oo, alam ko naman tayo magkasama, sir. Tayo nga dalawa pag nag-uusap yung gagawin natin kahapon tapos na eh. Oh, yan. Mr. Chair. Okay, titigilan na kita. Pwede pa po sa PISAM, Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair, kasi po yung mission ng PISAM is to manage the sale of power assets, liquidation of NPC obligations, and administer incentives such as missionary electrification and renewable developers under EPIRA framework. Ito po yung medyo mahirap ding unawain dito eh. Ang NPC, meron siyang missionary effort. Ang PISAM, meron siyang missionary effort. Pero nakikita ko lang gumagawa nito yung yung NEA eh. Mr. NEA, ikaw ba tinutulungan itong dalawang ito kasi palagi ikaw nabubugbog ka pag ikaw ay nasa Congress. Lalo na yung mga kasama ko, ikaw na lang palagi sinusulatan at piniperwisyo.
Maganda po ang samahan namin sa Energy Family ngayon. We are all working as a team, Mr. Chair.
Tinakot ka ba nila?
Hindi, Mr.
Huwag ka
Chair.
mag-alala. Hindi ka nila tulungan, di ba? How much of the 2026 budget will be devoted to accelerating the sale, privatization, or repurposing of remaining NPC generation and real estate assets? PISAM.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Senator Marcoleta. For clarity, with regards to the universal charge for missionary electrification, Mr. Chair, our role on missionary electrification is to collect from distribution utilities and electric cooperatives, and once we've collected those amounts, we remit the same to NAPOCOR. With regards to our mandate on the privatization of the generation assets,
Hindi po, ang tinatanong ko, how much of the 2026 budget na pinresent nyo sa amin will be devoted to accelerating the sale, privatization, or repurposing of remaining NPC generation and real estate assets?
let me get back to you on that, Mr. Chair. I'll check with my team specifically for the specific amounts from the different groups, Mr. Chair. I don't have that with me. But the mandate of PISAM the whole of the organization is to privatize the generation and IPP assets of PISAM, Mr. Chair. Right? So in that sense, it's the whole organization is moving towards that mandate.
Okay, as you continue to manage NPC obligations, financial obligations, what measurable reduction in total outstanding debts is projected for 2026?
Again, I will give you the statistics within the day, Mr. Chair. But for sure, I think we have been very efficient in our debt, in the managing of the debt obligations, specifically in our partnership with Land Bank and the Development Bank of the Philippines. It has proven to be a very good relationship. We're in coordination with Land Bank, President Inet, and DBP, President Mike. It's been proven that we have been able to reduce the cost of borrowing vis-a-vis borrowing from private banks, Mr. Chair. Senator Marcoleta.
Wala pa kayong naibibigay na information sa akin. How can you sure that you are very, very sure about it?
We definitely...
Halimbawa, yung universal charge. Kasi ang pinag-uusapan lang natin, yung nandun sa affordability na naman tayo. May connection naman kayo in lowering the charge of electricity rates. Sa universal charge pa lang, kaya po tayo interesado rito, lalong-lalo na yung stranded contract cost. Bakit po hanggang ngayon ay kasama pa rin sa billing ng isang ordinaryong household yung payment ng stranded cost kung talagang nagagampanan ninyo yung mandato ng batas na ma-dispose natin lahat ang assets ng NPC at sa ganon ay mabawasan na yung binabayad ng ating mga households sa elektrisidad. Hanggang ngayon po ay yung stranded contract cost ay kasama pa rin sa billing. Universal charge nandun pa rin, pero hanggang ngayon nandito pa rin tayo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With regards to stranded contract cost, please recall, Mr. Chair, that there is the Mura Corriente Act. It prohibited the continued collection of the universal charge for stranded contract costs and stranded debt. So for the purpose, stranded contract cost in our bill is 0. However, we still have 4 centavos of universal charge for stranded debt, which is supposed to end the collection in 2027 po.
Sigurado kayo, stranded cost wala na?
Wala na po, 0 na po yun. And under the MKA law po, it was prohibited to the further collection ng stranded contract cost at saka stranded debt,
Okay,
except for
yung-
those that were previously approved by the ERC po.
Bakit yung stranded cost ay pinipili, ay hanggang ngayon binabayaran pa natin?
Wala na po. Wala na, hindi naman po niyo makita yan sa bill niyo po. Kung sa Meralco po kayo naka-residence, wala na po yan sa Meralco bill, yung stranded contract cost.
Ano na lang ang nandun?
Stranded debt of about 4
Okay.
centavos.
Bakit po pati stranded debt ay binabayaran pa?
Per the MKA law, Mr. Chair, Senator Marcoleta, the MKA law prohibited also the collection of stranded debt except for those that were already previously approved by the ERC. Therefore, the remaining stranded debt or the approved ERC for stranded debt is about 4 centavos, and the end collection date for this particular item is in 2027, Mr. Chair.
So,
Senator
Mr.
Marcoleta.
ERC is throwing the issue to you.
Hindi po. It was a previously approved ERC decision long ago, Mr. Chair. We continue to collect that, and once it's fully collected, we project to end in 2027 po.
Yung stranded debt,
Opo.
by 2027, wala nang babayaran.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Senator Marcoleta.
So that will be 2 years from now.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Pero yung corporate life po ninyo ay hanggang kailan po kayo?
Under EPIRA, Mr. Chair, the original corporate life of PISAM is supposed to end in June 2026.
Paano natin masisiguro hanggang 2027 na sinasabi mo? Ang
Ayun po.
buhay mo
So,
hanggang next year.
The corporate life was given an extension via RA 12179 for additional 10 years. The law was passed this year, extending the carpet life of PSAM to June of 2036.
Nakalimutan ko lang na barahin yung batas na yun. Dapat hindi ka na hanggang 2026 ka na lang kasi hanggang ngayon hindi namin mapili yung pagmura ng kuryente talaga eh. Isip-isipin ninyo, ilang years po ang buhay na binigay sa inyo, yung original?
The original po was 25 years.
Isip-isipin ninyo, 25 years. Ang tungkulin lamang nyo po, ibenta nyo lamang yung NPC assets eh. Di ba? Ang nangyari po kasi, imbes na ibenta ninyo ng bago. Kasi po, halimbawa, nagbebenta kayo ng sasakyan. Sir, bago nyo ibenta yung sasakyan, pagagandahin nyo muna, di ba? Pipinturahan mo. Siguro, papalitan mo ng konti yung mga... Ibig sabihin, lalagyan mo ng burloloy para sa ganun, maging marketable. Tama po.
Well, part of the mandate as found in IPIRA, Mr. Chair, Senator Marcoleta, we are supposed to optimize the privatization proceeds. So whatever we need to do to optimize that proceeds, we'll do it, Mr. Chair, Senator
Hindi po,
Marcoleta.
ipagbebenta muna yung pinag-uusapan natin.
So pagbenta mismo ng assets, Mr. Chair, given the limited funds of government, we did not necessarily first improve the asset before actual sale. The privatization plan that PSAM implements, Mr. Chair, is an as-is where is privatization plan.
So wala
Mr.
kayong mandate na improve nyo man lang para sa ganun, pag binenta ninyo ay mas mataas ang halaga?
Well, Mr. Chair, Senator Marcoleta, part of the problem of government when IPIRA was passed was there was a lack of fiscal space. So therefore, the amount of funds given to NAPOCOR or PSAM to rehabilitate and fix these power plants was not part of the mandate given to PSAM, Mr. Chair. The mandate was sell as is and let the private sector improve these assets as can be proven from the various plants that were taken over by the private sector.
But the problem is there was no mandate for you to use the assets. Ibenta lang dapat eh.
Well, except for Agus and Pulangi, Mr. Chair, there's a particular provision in LEPIRA that Agus and Pulangi should be retained by government for that from 10 years from IPIRA, and only privatization can be considered after that 10-year period.
There were other facilities aside from Agus Pulangi na ginamit din ninyo bago ninyo binenta. So, yung bibili, kumbaga sa sasakyan, ginawa mo munang taxi, nung karag-karag na, tsaka mo binenta. Wala na, puro scrap na lang. Kaya ganun na nangyari.
Well, hindi naman po. I think the experience of PSAM with regards to the privatization proceeds, Mr. Chair, it's proven that we are able to maximize the value.
At least that is your experience. But insofar as our experience is concerned, based also on some facts, hindi ganun na nangyari. Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So, Mr. Chair, baka magalit ka sa akin. Ikaw na muna. Okay.
Tayong dalawa lang naman, Mr. Chairman. So, one to sawa tayo. Sige, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And you pointed out a lot of important items. I'll follow up on those items, Mr. Chairman, Senator Marcoleta. But I'll go to some items in the budget. I'll start off with DOE, Secretary Green.